Okay, everyone, we're back. Looks like most of us are back in any event. And for part two, we are going to meet Rick Roeder, who is my partner, and you know him also as Tech One. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the technical issues that we need to consider for podcasting. So Rick, over to you.
Are you going to shut off your screen, Katie?
Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, there we go. All right. So I caught the last part of the of Andy's previous presentation, and it was excellent. There was I was thinking, do I really need to go into any more? But what the heck, I can talk to. Katie's not the only one who can talk. Even if it is 8 at night and you're all fading away, but we'll still try anyways. What I want to show you is basically the cheap way to do audio production and to put an audio podcast together. And so we're going to look at a couple free tools and just sort of what you have available to you right now and the best way to use those things. And it would be great if everybody had a full microphone set up and recorders and everything else, but you don't necessarily need it. You can do it with free materials. So that's what I want to show you tonight. My background is, I've been doing this for 40 years. I was into computers, and then I got into media production, and then I got into learning design. And right now I'm a learning designer with Athabasca University in the nursing faculty. I even have here, this is what we were working with originally. There's an early laser disc. We had to work with discs this big to do anything with them. Fortunately, we don't have to do any of that anymore. So let's take a look at kind of the steps you're going to need to follow. It's all going to start with recording. The great part is your phone is actually a very high quality audio recorder already. It's got a good microphone in it, and it's got free built-in software, no matter what kind of phone you have, to be able to record that audio. You don't have to do a bunch of stuff with it. All you really have to do is kind of hold it in the right place. That's the key thing. I've got an iPhone, but it doesn't really matter. Android phone's the same. Your microphone and your speaker are both in the bottom. There's another microphone at the top, but the most important one is the one at the bottom, and that's the one that's going to record from. Whenever you're in doubt and you're recording your audio, if you're not sure that you're talking into the right microphone, just tap it, stop the recording, play it back, and you can hear, if you can hear the tapping, you know that you're on the right microphone. So I'm going to just open up a app called, in this one, Voice Memos. This is just on the Apple or on the iPhone. And but I know that you can also download free ones off your app store, and you can. But there should be something on every brand of phone to be able to record audio. So it's very, very simple with this one. You're not going to be able to see much, but basically there's a big red button, and all you've got to do is hit the red button and start recording. Now I'm going to hold this about 6 inches away from my mouth. I'm not going to hold it directly in front. I'm going to hold it slightly to the side so I'm not pushing air into the microphone. That way I'm not going to get a bunch of popping noises or anything like that. And I'm just going to record whatever I need to for my podcast. So if I want to do an introductory piece right now, I'm going to say, "Hi, it's Rick Roeder, and this is my introductory podcast." When I'm done, I'm going to hit pause or stop. And from there, all I really need to do is to send it to my computer. Now, the Mac has a nice way of doing it. It's called AirDrop, and I can just drop it right onto it, but I can just email it to myself too. And so I've already done that. I've taken a little recording and just sent it to myself. And then I'm going to open it up using Audacity. And Andy mentioned Audacity in their presentation earlier. And it is a free tool to edit audio. Now, there's lots of tools you can use right on your phone. I find them a little bit clunky, a little harder to use just because you're trying to use your finger to get exact spots, that sort of thing. So I find that it's just a little easier to do it on my computer, my laptop, whatever. And Audacity's free tool. It's available for Mac, PC, Linux, whatever you've got. I'm pretty sure that you can even use it on Chromebooks. Someone asked about Chromebooks earlier. I think there's an Audacity for Linux, which should work on the Chromebook. If not, there are other audio editing tools available on the Chromebook too. So they're all out there, but Audacity is the free one that I like to use just because I'm cheap mostly. So anyways, I'm going to just share my screen now with Audacity here. Let's see if I can do that. There. Oh, apparently I have to change my system preferences here. Okay. Okay. Looks like it's going to make me quit and restart the meeting. Great. Okay. Let's try this. Try sharing it again, see what happens. Share.
There you go.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. All right. So what I've done is import an audio clip. And so this clip was, when I sent it to my computer, it was a M4A file, a M4A. And it's just me doing a little introductory piece, very, very short. And then once I open up Audacity, I can drag that M4A clip and put it right on into the window here. And this is what it appears like. So if I hit play right now, you can hear what the whole piece sounds like.
Hi, it's Rick Roeder, and tonight is the first episode of my Insert Your Name Here podcast. We're going to be talking to some people and finding some things out. So let's get started.
Okay, so the absolute basics of editing something like this are nice and simple. You can see that there's a vertical bar right from up here that is available, and I can drag it across the audio waveform like this. And I can just, for instance, say delete that. I'll hit the delete key on my keyboard, and that initial opening pause is now gone. So you just edit this like it's a word processor almost. You can see the words that are there visually with the waveform on the screen. So I'm going to do the same thing now for the end. I'm going to drag my mouse over that and say delete. And so now I've trimmed it just so that it's got the important part in the middle. In the near the end, I have a big so let's just click there, and then I'm going to play from there. Wherever I click on this waveform, then when I hit play, it'll start playing from that point. So I'll hit play.
So let's get started.
All right, so I'm going to get rid of so, and that, if I'm not sure about it, I can watch it again.
So let's get started.
All right, so let's get started starts about there, and this is and that's the so part. Now, a little hard to see right now. I would like to be able to zoom in on this a little bit, and so what I can do is, well, if I can just find it here, it changes every time they update this thing. That's playback speed. I don't want to mess with that. And, oh, I know. Okay. All right. I'm just going to use the little magnifying glass up here to zoom in a little bit. Every time I click it, it zooms in a bit more. So let's just play this back one more time.
So let's get started.
All right, so I think let's get started starts right here. Let's try that.
So let's get started.
That sounded a little off. Let's try this.
Let's get started.
Okay, there it is there. So that's let's get started. And I'm going to just drag the mouse across this part and hit delete again. And so now I can play back. I'll play back from here.
Things out. Let's get started.
A lot better than it was before. Also, there's a little bit of a clunk near the end here, so I'm going to just delete that too. Let's try that, see how that sounds.
Things out. Let's get started.
Okay, so that's a clean signal now. So it's that simple to cut and paste your audio together. You can copy a part and paste it somewhere else if you like. I could copy this piece. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know what that is. What was I saying there? Good question. But I can just copy. I'm going up to the menu and saying copy. And I could put it right there if I wanted to, and I could paste it. So just like a word processor, I can copy and paste wherever I want. So now I've got something weird in the middle there.
Things out. Boom. Let's get started.
Okay. It's the worst sounding audio ever. Okay. So let's say undo that paste and I'll get rid of that. And it's gone again. So that's the basics of audio editing. I mean, it's really literally copying and pasting. Be thankful that you weren't doing this back in the, I don't know, 70s and 80s, because you were literally taking a razor blade, cutting a piece of tape, and then gluing it back together again. So fortunately, we don't have to do any of that anymore. So there we go. That's the basics. But probably what you're going to want to do is add more audio. If you're having a conversation, you probably got back and forth between two people. And what I'd recommend, if you're going to record more than one person, if you're going to do an interview as an example, get each person to do it on their own phone. So each person holds their own phone and records their own audio. That way you won't be passing back and forth, trying to do it that way. Also, you'll have two audio tracks that then you can use and you can cut back and forth from. So as an example, let's say I had another audio track. I'm going to drag it in here. And I think, yep, if I just drag it into the window, it'll add a second track, and I can have multiple tracks. So this is exactly the same. This is still me talking. If I put this here and play.
Hi, and tonight is the first episode of my first.
So obviously you can hear me twice. But if I was doing this as a question and answer piece, I could have this part play, and then I could have this part play it. So I could just cut away all this part and then drag it. Let me find the right thing here. There we go, the hand. And I can literally drag it to line it up with where this is. So this is where you can have a conversation going with two different audio tracks or more. You can have 3 or 4 people talking. If each one records their own audio, you save them all at once, and then you can cut back and forth, and just using the cutting tools and dragging things around on the screen, you can have a complete audio that is actually made up of multiple tracks. So that's what I'd recommend you do. That way you're always going to get the best quality audio. You're not trying to have one microphone you're sharing or one phone you're sharing. You can have each person record their own and then put them all together in one package. Now I'm guessing that Katie's probably given you a lot of flexibility in terms of what she wants you to do.
Okay,
But
can you wait for a sec? Rachel, did you have a question?
sure, go for it.
So in terms of like combining these two audio clips, right? So if you're trying to have a conversation, So I see that you've got this first part and then we've moved the second part over. So then how do we splice or cut the first part so then it plays after the second thing? Do
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? Sorry, that was like a horrible way to explain it, but
You know what? It actually makes complete sense.
Okay.
So I'm just going to do it as a first part on this track, second part on this track, and then third part back up on the first track. So I've just cut out this section from this one, and I'm going to now use the little razor blade. Where is it? It's under.
honestly, in all audio software, they make all the buttons so small. It
Don't
is
they?
excruciating. Like I use Premiere,
Exactly.
I use Premiere Pro sometimes for work and I hate it. It's like this big and you're like, what is it?
Yeah, I know. I have to keep with Premiere. I have to keep going back to the internet and Googling, how do I just do this? It's
This is
so
the thing.
simple.
I
But they
learned how to do one thing on there because I only need to know how to do one thing.
Exactly, and that's what I find too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just looking for the ability to split the track here, and I know it's here somewhere. Doo-doo-doo. Can you see my menus or not?
No.
Okay, sorry. Sorry then. I'm actually going to go to help and say split track because there we go. No, doesn't tell me. Okay, I know it's right here somewhere. I know that. Multi-tool? No. Okay, well, I know that's right there. Okay, so let's try this. Nope. Well, I know you don't want to see me stumble around this, so I'm going to take one more look at the menus and see if I can find it in the 500 menu items here. And that, of course, is the most annoying. Oh, there it is right there. Under audio, under edit, audio clips, you can split. And boom, there we go. I just split it. So now I can drag the second one over to here.
Wait, I didn't see where you did the edit thing. Can you do it again? I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, so I'm going to, let's say I want to put it, split the clip here.
Yeah.
You see there? Okay. So I'm going to go up to edit, audio clips, split.
Hey, we don't
Okay,
see that.
yeah, we're not seeing that.
Okay, I know you can't see the menu. That's why I just said it.
Oh, I see. Okay, but it's in the menu.
It's in the menu. Yeah.
Okay.
And so then I can put that there. This I'm going to just delete. No, I'm going to delete this part. No, I'm gonna leave that part. Okay. Delete this part. There we go. Okay, so if I play this back now, I should have a one coherent piece here. I'm gonna put my
Hi, it's Rick Roeder,
there we go.
and tonight is the first episode of my Insert Your Name Here podcast. We're going to be talking to some people and finding some things out. Let's get started.
Okay, so a couple little things I notice is that if I have a blank like this, it goes totally dead. And so I want to make sure I have some kind of noise behind it. One thing that Andy showed in the edit tracks that they had one track that was just room noise. And so you can literally just record 10 or 15 seconds of dead air. Don't say anything, don't move, don't do anything else, just record 10, 15 seconds worth. And then you can always drop that in any place where you've got a gap like this that you think there might be a little, a little hole that you can fill in. The other thing I noticed was that this overlapped slightly, so I'm just going to delete that. And I'll move this back to here. You can see that as I drag these clips around, it'll automatically lock into place on the edge of the previous one or on the other one. I'll do the same here. There we go. Okay. So that's how I would split the clips and have multiple tracks. Now, the other thing that I'm going to want to do, and I wouldn't ask you to do this unless you're comfortable with it, but you can put in background music as an example, and you can fade the background music up and fade it down again. So I could put another track of background music in, and then I can, sorry, I gotta get rid of this. Okay. I am going to find a piece of music that we can use here. Now, you were given a few options as possible sources of music, correct? Anyone?
Do you mean Andy gave us some sources?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
One I've used before is archive.org. And so I am going to just go to, I know you can't see this, but I'm just going to the website archive.org. I will try changing my screen sharing so you can see this. There we go. Can you see something that says Wayback Machine on the top of the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. You can see here that there's all kinds of different files in the Internet Archive. You can click on the speaker and you can get all kinds of audio. Now, it's not just music, it's all kinds of audio. But most of this is free and is available under usually Creative Commons licensing, which allows you to use it. I'm going to click audio. And actually, let's pick no, let's not. There's some audio. A lot of it's books or old radio shows are in here too. Okay, I'm just waiting for this menu to come back up. There we go. Okay, and I'm looking for, what should we look for? Let's look for, we said audio. I'm going to look for some music. Oh, it's not going to let me do that. And what's this? Miscellaneous podcasts. Islamic sermons. Wow, get everything here. Okay. I saw a second. Oh, there we go. Concerts. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Yeah, come on. For some reason, it's very slow, but I'm guessing it's because Katie and I are both on Zoom at the same time.
I'll turn off my video.
That might be best. Might help a little. Might speed things up a tiny bit. There we go. Here's a audio concert. I have no idea what this is, by the way. I am simply just grabbing something. Okay, so I can say download options. I'm going to download as a MP3 file. Clementine. There we go. Okay, not probably something I would want to use in my final version, but just for now, I'm going to save this and we'll use it as a temporary piece, just as a fill-in piece. There we go. Okay. All right, so I've saved that on my desktop. Now I'm going to minimize that window. I'm going to change my screen sharing. Come on. Okay, we'll do it this way. Go back to Audacity. There we go. All right, so I'm going to bring in that audio that you just heard. I'm going to drag it into this window. And it says, oh, you can't do an MP3 file. So I actually did set this up to handle MP3 files before. There is a one little trick that I need to show you in Audacity, and it requires you to do a little bit of extra downloading if you want to use MP3 files. And you know what? It's, what time is it? 8:30. I'm guessing that you're fading fast here, but I'm going to just see if I can do this on the side quickly. Libraries, I've got the lane. Yes. Well, see, that's supposed to be the MP3 ability. Okay. Okay, I'm going to try import that. Import audio. Desktop. Clementine. Open. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it for whatever reason. Okay. Forget that. we don't need that. So what you would do is I would go back to that site, and I would download a different version of this file, probably wherever it is. There we go. Nope. All right. And unfortunately, all my music library is all MP3 files, so that's not going to be work. I'll just show you using another voice here, the same voice. I can drag it in, and what I can do is this line above and below allows me to squeeze down the volume of, we said this was the music track. We could have it so that the volume of the music track is quite low while people are talking. And then I can click to put in extra dots, and you can see that I can drag it so that it's louder when maybe someone isn't talking. So I can have the music fade in and fade out by just clicking on this dark blue line and stretching it up, and click again, and I can stretch it down and so on. So now the volume gets louder and it gets quieter again. So it makes it very simple to put music in the background that you can fade in and fade out as you need it to make sure that it works with whatever voices you have. I strongly recommend that you take an hour out of your day and go to the This American Life website It's an American radio show, documentary. They are perhaps one of the best at doing this sort of thing. They fade music in and out perfectly. They have little tiny music. And there was a question earlier about edit some of the music or process. Well, you don't just cut it. You can actually put a little music bridge in between to hide the edit. So in effect, you're kind of taking all the parts that you really want, putting those together, and then hiding them with little bits of music in between. And the This American Life radio show is probably one of the best I've ever heard at doing that. So I'd recommend you take a listen to that, and you can see how they just bring music in and out. And there's lots of choices from free music sources that you can pull from that are a lot more appropriate and match the mood of your piece. And you can definitely use those within. The other thing you're going to be bringing in probably is introductions, conclusions at the end. All of that you can do as separate tracks, or you can keep layering or adding to the tracks that you've got inside Audacity already. So that's the basics. And I mean, there's a million other effects. You can add echoes and reverbs, and you can make it play backwards, and you can do almost anything you want to do with audio within Audacity. The effects are pretty huge. There's a gigantic list of a menu. If you find that the audio is not quite loud enough, you can highlight it. Just highlight a section like this. I can go to under effects. There's one called normalize. Normalize is a good one because it will kind of bring most of the peaks and valleys of your audio into sort of a tighter range. And that is a great one to kind of get your tracks to the basic level. There's also one called amplify. So I can click amplify. It'll ask me how much I want to amplify. And right now I've got it set to, let's say 1.5 or something. That's just a slight amplification. And if I apply, you can see that the whole wave got a little bit bigger as it amplified it. So you want the wave to be pretty much fit within the window like this. If it starts smashing into the edges, that means you've got something called clipping. And it means generally you've held the phone too close to your mouth, or you're talking too loud, and it will start to shear off the top and bottom of the sound wave, which makes it sound a little bit harsh and staticky. And so if you see that happening, you can use the amplify tool to actually squeeze it down a little, or you can make it a little bit bigger if it's not quite loud enough. That's the one tool I find I probably use the most within Audacity is the amplify tool. And the normalize, like I said, is also one you can use, and it'll just do an average across the whole thing. It's quite nice. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'll answer any questions you have. I think what the end result is here is that you're trying to put together your piece of the podcast, and then submitting that. And I'll certainly be available to help in any way to kind of stitch all the pieces together into one bigger podcast. Or if they need to stay separate, we can do that too. But I can do whatever is necessary to help out to sort of do a final edit on things. And if you have problems, please let us know. Probably contact Katie and she'll pass it to me, and I can help as much as I can. Questions? Any questions?
Can you just play it how it is now with the volume thingy that you did?
Sure. I'm just going to shut off. There's a little mute button. Can you see the mute button here on the left?
Yeah.
Mute those tracks. and then I'll just play it from
Oh, right.
here. And that way you can just hear that track.
Hi, it's Rick Roeder, and tonight is the first episode of my Insert Your Name Here podcast. We're going to be talking to some people and finding some things out.
Okay, let's take that again and nope. There. I'm gonna fade this out a lot more. I'm just gonna make it a little bit more obvious. There we go. And we'll make this bigger. And we'll start it about here.
Hi, it's Rick Roeder,
So very quiet.
and tonight is the first episode of my Insert Your Name Here podcast.
And then it gets a little louder and then fades right out again.
And finding some things out.
Hmm.
So let's get started.
And with background music, of course, you can you want it to be quite quiet when people are talking, otherwise it'll overwhelm the voices. More questions, anyone? Katie?
Hmm?
They've all gone to sleep, so it's okay.
Yeah, they're all there. I can see 12 participants.
If we sneak away now, they won't even notice.
Yeah, they might. Thank you very much, Monsieur. So, folks, there was a lot tonight, obviously, and it's always a little intimidating. I think. Pardon? Sorry, so I think the technical part always sounds really intimidating until you get your hands on it, and start kind of playing with it. And what I would suggest you do is maybe just play with it by recording yourself a few times and trying Audacity and inserting a few effects and so on. But the main concern is the content of this podcast. Right. It's not whether you get the music perfect or, can fade in and out or whatever. It's the content. And Rick is going to be here to help you with sort of stitching things together. And we have a whole week, the podcast work week that I've specified. And so I think if this is fine with you, Rick, what I'll ask people to do is once they start getting some audio, they make an appointment through me, and we'll sort of schedule some time that we can just work with you directly. That sound okay, Rick?
Absolutely, yeah, no problem at all.
Okay.
Can I ask some potentially silly questions?
No silly questions.
Well, it's a two-part question. So, Rick and Katie, you're married. So one, I'm wondering, have you guys collaborated on podcast projects before? And does this have anything to did you guys meet in communication? What's your meet cute?
Want to tell the story, Rick?
I'm very curious to hear how you would tell it. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I came to, I was on maternity leave when I decided to do my year of residency. I was doing a master's of education in the early 80s. And at that point, you had to put in 1 year of full-time study, even the rest you could do part-time. And so I came to a unit called the Instructional Technology. Okay, the long version of the short version.
Short version, Katie, please.
What? The short version. Okay. Anyway.
Short version. Yeah.
Right. So I was working as a TA in this unit called Instructional Technology for Learning. Rick was the television producer and computer lab guy there at the time. And I was hired as an RA to do the content design for a video disc on classroom management. And So that included both computer stuff and video stuff and, learning design and everything else. And so that's how Rick and I got to know each other. We worked together on that first video disc that I did. And I think it was called, what was it called, Rick? Classroom
Management 1 and then Classroom Management 2.
Yeah, Classroom Management 2. And then we did a third on questioning techniques. So that's how we met each other. We were each married to different people. And Rick went away to work for those warmongers, the Lytton Monroe people. And, much to my horror. And I went off and did my thing. But I was in town from the PA. I actually worked at Keewatin Community College in the PA after my stint in New York, and which was also a desperate place to work. And I came down one summer to do some. We were going to do something with faculty development there, and bumped into Rick in a lab at Grant MacEwan, and he was teaching some classes there. Turns out he was divorced, and so was I. I can tell you the rest of that meet cute story, but over a glass of wine sometime. How's that, Rick?
Yeah, that'll do it.
Okay.
Oh, the promise is recorded, right? So you can.
That's right. There were sisters involved as well. I'm just gonna
Wait, Rick wasn't married to like your sister, was he?
Oh no.
No, absolutely
The way
not.
you said that, I was like, this is very scandalous.
Yeah.
Very
No,
scandalous
it's
story.
not-
You
not at
led with
all.
that. But
No,
this
it's
is better.
No,
Okay.
it's not scandalous. It's just that I was staying out at the lake in my sister's cabin at this time that I was in town, and had gone in and out a few times to do other things, but meeting Rick once in a while. And he said, well, why don't we do dinner? And I went back out to the lake. I thought, I can't drive in one more time. I'm too tired. So he said, well, okay, I'll drive out and we'll go for dinner. And when I hung up the phone, both my sisters said, that's a date. I said, no, it's not. Like, we're friends and colleagues. And they said, no, that's a date. I'm like, nah, he's just gonna come. But as it turns out,
Did he pay?
pardon?
Did he pay?
Yeah, I think he did.
There's a date.
Question. That's a very good question. I'm not sure. I may have left before the bill showed up. I don't know.
You didn't. You didn't.
Oh, I know.
And the rest is history, as they say. So, so we've been learning designers, both of us, for, 40 years.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Maybe unfortunately.
Unfortunately, makes us sound really old.
Well, that's true. Any other questions, personal or professional? No? Okay, well, this has been a fun evening. We've had two fabulous guests. We've learned a lot. I know you're probably thinking madly about what you want to do for your podcast episode, but we're going to talk about it more. So, don't go away and be anxious about it. It's going to work out. Okay, so be sure to go to the forum and see what's in the forum tomorrow. And I'll see you all next week. Have a wonderful week. Night, everyone.
Thank you. Night.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much. Have a good week.
Bye.
Enjoy the long weekend.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
And
Right.
I'll see you all on my birthday next week.
It's your birthday. Oh,
Yeah. See you next Tuesday.
Start practicing. Happy birthday, everyone.
and
Terrible.
everybody bring cake and eat it in front of each other.
Yeah.
I expect harmonies.
Or I mean,
I'll log off.
No one likes it when somebody sings happy birthday to them. That's not a thing. It's horrible. It's always awful.
Just me.
It's enjoyable for everyone else.
yeah.
I can't stand it. I'm like, what do I do? Where do I look? Why are you
Guys.
singing? It's hor- you don't think so? Am I the only one? It's so awful. Ugh. Oh,
It's okay, you don't actually have to sing me happy birthday. I just
I
want you
won't.
all to know that
That's,
a relief.
that's a friendship. name.
I'm that type of person. Hello, everyone. It's my birthday month, just so you know. Anyways.
Presents accepted.
Yeah.
Take care. Thank you. And thanks, Rick.
Night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.